Gals, we are live. Okay, we are live. I probably should have switched to like hardwire, but am I coming in clear or am I blurry?
No, you're
You're
fine.
fine.
Good, good. I think they fixed the internet here. I'm in my office, away from the office. Casey Figueroa. This is such a rare occasion. It's like spotting a unicorn in the wild. We have
Right?
Casey Figueroa, who's our CRA Academy and one of our CRA Academy instructors, especially on the internship side, but also behind the scenes. I mean, you're the one, you do everything. Why don't you introduce yourself, Casey? Because people out here in Guru Nation, they don't know we have history. We go
Way
way
back.
back, like chiropractic.
Definitely. Well, my name is Casey, and like Dan said, I've been in the picture for quite some time. I do actually handle the intern. Um, I actually know I start dealing with the students before they even get into the course, making them phone calls, trying to get them to enroll. And then once they get inside the course, then I'm always still at their access. I do have them definitely texting me, asking questions all the time. And then once they get into the internship, I am responsible for grading the reports. So you definitely will be dealing with me throughout the whole process.
Mm-hmm.
So,
The Guru Nation, you just saw an hour long, hopefully, YouTube slash podcast. The podcast will go up today, actually, with Tiffany Bennett, who's our co founder, lead instructor since day one. But Casey Figueroa, she's a hugely important member of our CRA Academy. And you're going to get to know her on the internship side as well as the course, like she just said. Then we're going to have another live stream event this week with maybe Tiffany and Ashley. Ashley's more of the career coach. So we're going to try to hit you guys up with a lot of CRA Academy stuff this week. But why don't we go back, Casey, how you got started in research? Because
hmm.
we said we go back, but you didn't really explain. So let's go, like, let's make this about you a little bit as well.
Well, let's see. I actually had went to school for medical billing,
Ooh,
and I had to do an internship, and I landed in South Coast Clinical Trials of Anaheim.
OG represent.
Yeah.
For those
Was
for those who do not know, can you
Believe
clarify
it or
what
not,
specifically South Coast Clinical Trials is?
South Coast Clinical Trial still gets LinkedIn followers on a weekly basis. New one. I never deleted it. It still gets new followers every week. It's been out of business for maybe 8 years.
sure, if not longer. Yeah, yeah. South Coast Clinical Trials. It actually, again, how I got in. I was doing my internship, and I got linked up with a psychiatrist that actually had her private practice in that office. Um, Little did I know that they had clinical research going on in the back rooms.
And just like that, like literally in the back room,
Pretty much just like that. Yeah. So I was actually helping the psychiatrist at the front office, and there was a South Coast Clinical Trials in Norwalk that just got a new PI and had lost their study coordinator. And my first day there was May 31st, 2012. And I remember it was an SIV for a depression study. And that was literally my first intro into clinical research. Um,
wow.
sorry.
30 people viewing this just on LinkedIn alone. Never heard this story. This is so
Right?
cool to feature multiple members from Guru Nation from way back. Actually, both you and Chris both started out with South Coast Clinical Trials. I started out with South Coast Clinical Trials.
Right? It was the beginning step for all of us, right?
Wow. SCCT. We
Yeah.
got
So
31
basically,
coming. Keep LinkedIn coming. Share it right now with a friend. We want to break LinkedIn right now. Casey, continue.
so I also, they had an existing study going on that there were a lot of mistakes made. And so I kind of had to learn how to correct those mistakes, which taught me how to not make those mistakes. And the rest is pretty much kind of history as far as that. I had a good run at the site. Um, we
And
closed the doors. Yeah. I mean,
now
what,
we're doing.
2021?
So you started out from medical billing to coordinator. I remember you came in and really like helped me out a lot in a time of need. Maybe it was even a crisis. Or you came in there and you were like such a huge help at that time where I almost was my days were consumed with that Norwalk clinic, which was like our stepchild. Like no one really cared about this site. So I had to do it. And it was like I had all these other things going on, not very much different than today. But I was just focused on that because we didn't have staff that was able to really take over. So it was just me. Like when you're the owner, like if there's no one else, it's you. So Casey came through and breath of fresh air, like almost from day one.
Yeah,
Uh, Even though she was new to the industry, she picked up really quick and she was able to really take over. And then we had a good run with that side. And fast forward to
definitely did.
today, you're monitoring for us. You're actually going out doing IMV visits because Chris and I don't want to. So you go out
Yeah,
and
I'm leaving to Napa tomorrow to do an
right,
IMV on
amazing,
Wednesday.
amazing. Talk to us a little bit about monitoring versus coordinating because it's the best CRAs are former coordinators, is what the saying goes.
And it's definitely true. I mean, it's what basically allowed me to begin doing what I'm doing. As a CRA, your job is to make sure that the site is doing the study per protocol. And it makes it a lot easier when you've been on that other side and you know how to conduct the study. It makes it a lot easier going in and making sure that sites are conducting the study the way they should be. Um, I'm fortunate enough to have an awesome, awesome site with an awesome study coordinator. So it definitely makes my job pretty easy.
And you said
So,
Napa. Do they give you like wine at the site or no?
well, from what I understand, the doctor does own his own vineyard. I
Ooh,
have been offered several, but I'm
really?
actually not a wine drinker myself. So,
Ah, okay.
yeah.
That's cool. So, what do you think about monitoring and with the perspective of people watching, career seekers, they're considering CRA Academy? What do you think are some important things they need to keep in mind about this industry, specifically about monitoring? Like we're talking about nurses, RNs, people like with the education maybe to be a CRA, but not with the experience. Like what is your advice to these people?
My advice is kind of similar to yours. You know, you want to I think what makes a good CRA is definitely um, having that site uh, or knowing how it's done on the other side. And with our academy, that's basically kind of what, we give you all that information. So if you can't take the time to go and put in some years in a little site, then yes, our academy definitely kind of picks up and puts you um, where you need to be.
A-
Definitely.
Amy says, "How I need to come back to that. First of all, put your questions, comments, repost this on LinkedIn. We need to break LinkedIn algorithm. I'm tired of the LinkedIn algorithm showing like stupid stuff on my feed. We need to like just get this awareness out to people." Mahmoud says, "Dan, I'd like to discuss my new research site with you and seek your assistance." Mahmoud, no problem. Me and Chris are here for you, man. Just message me right here with your email. I will send an email to Chris. We get this done. If you have a site, you need more studies, we help with that too. Amy says, "How can I sign up to CRA Academy?" Right there, thecraacademy.com. Let's go, Amy. No time like the present. New Year's resolution. Get it off. Get your new year started on the right track. What better time to start something new than January, especially in such a pivotal year, 2024? There's gonna be all kinds of crazy stuff happening. But you want some stability in the craziness and in the chaos, and that's clinical research. because we've been in this industry through a lot of chaotic times, and it's been very stable, very stable.
It's not going anywhere. It's definitely not going anywhere.
Chris, you have anything to add? Casey said a few interesting things I want to double click on, but it's up to Chris because, with a shirt like that, I know you got stuff to say.
You can't see the whole shirt though.
I don't need to see it. Only the top half is enough.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add. I mean, Casey touched on all the pertinent points. The one thing that I just kind of add additional context to is, as a student for the CRA Academy, you are provided all the guidance necessary. There's plenty of individuals here to answer any questions you may have. There's a live class on Saturdays to answer questions. So plenty of opportunity to ask questions. There's a lot of information to review and understand, and you're offered all the guidance necessary
And
to
then the
succeed.
internship, you've got a real not only do you have a real CRA who's been a CRA for decades teaching you every week, but then in the internship, you've got a real life CRA who's tomorrow going on an IMV, reviewing your IMV reports. I mean, and by the way, on a real study. I forgot to mention that
Yeah.
part. What kind of salesperson am I? 10 minutes in, haven't even mentioned that. It's a real study, guys. Okay. What is your favorite part? And Chris, you got Mahmoud's email. Do you want to get that down and let's get him a client call? We just multitask live on this thing.
Where would I get his email?
Right here in the comments. It's dr.mafarag at
Oh,
Hotmail.
I had it on the wrong thing. It was on
You're
private
bold,
chat.
Mahmoud, to put your email out there on blast for everybody. Casey, monitoring reports. You're going to do one. Tomorrow you're going to
Yes.
do an IMV. Can you explain to someone that doesn't know what to expect, like just the complexity, the nuances, all this stuff? Like, what are people's biggest misconceptions about this?
That it's hard. It's not rocket science. Each sponsor provides you with protocol specifics. You get the protocol. Um, Again, it's not rocket science. You definitely have to be detailed oriented, because basically what the sites do when they conduct a study is, in their source, they paint a picture. As a CRA, you also have to go in, interpret that picture, and then you also, in your report, have to paint a picture, because your reports are what goes back to the sponsor to let the sponsor know what the site's doing. So again, it's not rocket science. If you can follow a protocol, um, you're given all the tools needed, whether it's through our CRA Academy or once you get a job, the sponsor will, again, provide you with every tool you need to go out there and do a good job.
I had a coordinator, Casey. You never met her. For those that don't know, Casey also helps me and Chris's startup site, Yuma Clinical Trials. Because we use Creo, we can have remote monitoring internally, and she's like our QA person as well. One of our coordinators you never met. She only worked here for a week. She ended up getting a job with Border Patrol. That was like her dream job. So I think she made a mistake, but whatever. It's her life. She said,
So she'll be back.
well, yeah, that I don't know. She said, this is a piece of cake if you read, because
Mhm.
like you just said, everything is given to you. The problem is people try to take shortcuts and not read the details. And this is an industry where you, especially CRA, are you kidding? That you can
You
argue the
have
CRA
to.
has to be more of the expert, the biggest experts in on a study on paper are supposed to be the PIs. We all know that doesn't happen. Then on second paper, it's supposed to be the coordinator, which that happens more, but not as much. In reality, it's the CRA that's the protocol expert. And if you're not paying
Right.
attention to details and you are the last layer of defense between the FDA and the site, like, and you catch something, that's your role as a CRA. How can I enroll? TheCRAacademy.com. Let's go. Veronica, we have a question for Chris, actually. Can we have more payment plan options? We have a 2 payment plan.
Yeah, there's we have 2 options: pay in full or
Half
2
now, half.
payments. 2 payments of $2,500. The first payment due prior to the start of class or whenever it is that you join. If you were to pay today, you would gain access to the material for the class, so you could start reviewing that. And then the second payment's due prior to the 8th week of class. That's our options.
How long is the class? It's 3 months and then the internship. So we don't
Unlimited.
just leave you alone after 3 months.
And
That's when the fun begins.
And the internship's unlimited. Most students are hired after the third IMV. So if you complete 3 monitoring reports, you're in excellent position to be hired. You have a good understanding of all the different items and details that are involved in research.
And we'll get back to that 3 IMV report process because that's all Casey right there. Hemavati, is there any placement as well? That's all we do. The internship is Casey helping you with your reports so that you hone in on your technical skill set, like you become really proficient. And then Ashley Margot, who we're gonna go live with this week, she's the career coach. Like that's all. Like we are 100% focused on 100% placement of all our students. We realize that's not possible a lot of times because human beings are variable and not everyone can just leave their current job for. Oftentimes it is lesser pay, at least initially, but we try. So we have career coach, we have interview prep, so we have CV prep, we have everything. Even if I have to get on the phone with you and do like a job interview prep, Chris, we've all done it. Casey, Ashley, we all do it. Frank's, we're going to get back to the IMV reports for the internship. I got your book, and even though I do not have any experience in CRA, I've been a great admirer and want to make a switch into CRA. Can you give me advice here? Yes. Learn from Casey. Forget my advice. Do what Casey did. What'd you do, Casey?
Again, I kind of got lucky and landed in the right place at the right time.
But if you had to go back now and you knew, like, I have to start at a site, you would have just mapped out all the sites in your area
Definitely
and
would
went
have
and
went in, offered my services, whether it be like Dan says, recruitment, um, just anything to get your foot in that door and just be a sponge and absorb it. I always go back to the fact that it's not rocket science. Even on the site side, you're given a protocol that tells you how to do it, when to do it, and your job is to document it. And if you didn't write it down, it didn't happen. So that's the biggest part on the site side. But then as a CRA, you have that same focus. You have to know that protocol. Like Dan said, the CRA, you're going to get questions from the site. So you definitely have to be the number one person that knows that protocol like the back of your hand.
that's it. Guess who we called my site here in NEMA Clinical Trials? They're doing a screening right now at the other site for a brand new study that started. On Friday, one of our patients no-showed for another study, so we had time to do a mock screening to make sure we don't screw up. Guess within like a half an hour of doing this mock visit, guess who we ended up calling? Our CRA, because we ran into things we weren't sure. You know what? He answered on the first ring. Like this dude was on it and he knew the answers. He didn't say, "Oh, let me get back to you." No. He knew the answers, and when it was something tough, he said, "Hold up." He went to look for it on the phone. Like that, you are the expert when the sites who are supposed to be the expert are calling you to ask for questions. Like you are the expert.
Yep.
Hey, Dr. Tangent here, Dr. Farag. I just scheduled a meeting. You should have received it in your email. And
We're
then
multitasking here.
somebody
Excellent.
had a question. The
Oh, we
website
got a
says only
bunch. Yeah.
20 students?
The website says, thank you, Peyton, only 20 students per quarter. How will we know when a quarter is full? Um, it's not full right now. When it does get full, we tell you, like when you email us, we will let you know, hey, this one's full. Let's do it for the next quarter. But right now, that's not the case. And the week of January 7th is the first week of this class. Australia, no problem. We've had a lot of students actually from Australia. Australia has a very healthy research ecosystem. I live in Baltimore. How do I locate sites near me? Yeah. Okay, Frank,
Google.
check it out. Google. Casey said, thank you. Oh my God, this is amazing. Other people are saying the same thing I am. You just Google or even LinkedIn, Frank, like clinical research site Baltimore, and just put your zip code. Ignore all the big ones. Ignore like Johns Hopkins. Ignore all the AMC, University of Maryland. Ignore all that. Go to like Hidden Hills Research Center, Pleasant Meadows Research Clinic, like things that you never heard of. Those are the ones that will take you. South Coast Clinical Trials, Yuma Clinical Trials. Casey can't just couldn't have walked into USC and said,
No.
"Hey, I want to work here." No, they'd be like, first of all, you would get lost after the reception, as they'd be like, we don't actually know where you need to go." But like in a smaller place, you go and they're like, well, this is a little strange, but hold on, let me see if somebody can come out. And then boom, they're gonna come out. You talk to them and do it 5, 10 times. One of them is gonna say, yeah, start. When can you start? If they like what you're coming in there with. If you don't have anything to offer from the jump, then no, there's nothing. Like that's where the variable is you, Frank. You.
Yep.
Let me turn on this light. You guys talk about this. I'm gonna put some water in this nitro cold brew and the lights turn off. So Chris, Casey, let's go. Let's get these people pumped, man.
Pumped, huh?
Pumped.
So, Casey, in terms of the
Yes.
IMVs, how many would you say reports you receive each month from students?
I would say anywhere from 10 to 12.
Okay. So, for those listening, that means because we have, I would say, if I had to take an average, we average about 17 students a quarter per class. And all but maybe 5% of students pass. Those that don't pass are the ones that, for whatever reason, they pay and then they do nothing in the class, right? They don't take
Right.
the quizzes and the tests, and they don't participate. So I'm not sure why they took the class to begin with, personally, but what that demonstrates is there, for whatever reason, students either are hired once they complete just the main portion of the class, so there's no need for the internship, or I'm, not to say something negative here, but unfortunately, it has to be said. Uh, they find that maybe being a CRA is not for them. That's the way I perceive it, by the lack of participation in the internship. They've either been hired, or maybe they had a misunderstanding of what being a CRA is. I don't know.
Well,
I
there's
don't
a
know.
few
What do you think?
circumstances that to where students might pass the course and then just life happens. We've had a few students that have come back um,
True.
6 months later
Or
and,
years. There's been students years
yeah,
later.
and say, I didn't have, something came up and I couldn't get right into it. And that's a good thing about us, is because we don't ever kick anybody out. Once you're given access to that intern, you have access to it forever.
Oh, that's a good point. Including the material. The material of the
Yes.
class you have access to
Including
as
new
well.
studies, including when we get new studies. There's been a lot of interns from like our inaugural few classes where their internship was not as robust as we have now with the actual breast cancer study. And who
Mhm.
knows, in 5 years from now, when hopefully we have a new study, interns from now, maybe they're between jobs. Hey, can I do your internship again? Yeah, we have a new study actually. So you get fresh experience. There's no extra cost to any of this stuff. The only extra cost if you fail the class, you have to pay $500 to retake it.
To
That's it.
retake.
And we've done free, and it doesn't work. So it's not for money. We don't need 500 extra bucks.
You need to be dedicated.
And we do have upcoming ventures to where even some of our students that excel and that are definitely are better students can even have opportunities when they're presented to us, and we need students to say quality assurance or even monitor.
Mm-hmm.
Those higher up students are going to get that offered to them. So there are times when we have the capability to be able to find and get
I have a
students
student
higher.
tomorrow. Casey, you're going to monitor tomorrow. I have a CRA Academy graduate tomorrow from San Diego coming to Yuma. He already got a job for a research consulting company. He needed, he impressed his boss. He said, "Hey, I'm a former CRA Academy student. I can get us to shadow with Dan's site because they work for a consulting company. They're trying to figure out sites. I wouldn't be doing this just willy nilly for people, but he's CRA
Right.
Academy. Yeah, come on in. Let's do it." And so there's a lot of benefits beyond what you think and beyond the immediate by being a part of
Exactly.
our network. And Chris gets students coming to San Bernardino all the time.
Well, I don't know about all the time.
Rosario loves it.
Well, that used to be the case. It's no longer all the time.
Okay, what's wrong, Chris? Come on, man. Open your doors a bit more.
Nah,
Help me out.
no. The online program is much better.
The online program is good. People, yes, it's a very good. Nowadays, everything's like remote also. Um, so good luck tomorrow, Casey, on your
Thank
monitor.
you.
What are you looking for? What's going on with the site presently? Like, give us some nuggets
They are
through.
actually one of the higher enrolling sites. It was a little rocky, but once they got their first subject randomized, it seems like it was just they're up to 12 randomized. Um, it just I love the site. She reminds me a lot of me when I was a study coordinator. So
Will she be
um,
a CRA?
the doctor's already told me I can't solicit her for any kind of other employment. She's kind of locked in there with him.
These court when they're
Trust me, I've asked because she would definitely be a good one. Yes,
I see.
definitely be a good one.
Amy says, "How often do you guys offer classes? Usually every 3 months,
Yeah,
three or four a year, depending on the timing. Every
yeah.
year." Any other last minute advice for people? We're gonna do live streams like a lot this week on CRA Academy, but just wanted to get Casey's perspective, uh, being that she started out as a medical biller, then coordinator, then site director, psychometric rater. We didn't even talk about that
Neurocognitive. Yeah, yeah.
to CRA. Like you've done so much, and you're just getting started too. Your career is young.
Exactly. Definitely.
Who knows what
Have a
Casey's?
lot more stuff to do.
But Casey's a DSCS for lifer. She's a
Yes.
lifer. Southwest Clinical Trials, then now DSCS
So
for
is
life.
that in blood?
I don't
Might
know. Should I go get the tattoo DSCS somewhere?
we get the tattoo? That would be cool. That'd be really nice. And then we can come back and do another live stream.
All right. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm actually due, so we'll see.
Chris, any last words of advice for Guru Nation out there that's career seeking? It's this new time of the year, fresh start, new year, new you, all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if you have interest, now's the time. Don't delay. Um, don't procrastinate. Everything's better done now than later.
And while everything else has gone up in price, inflation's real, guys. Federal
It
Reserve's
certainly
meeting
is.
tomorrow. This is not a finance podcast, but tomorrow the Fed is meeting again. Okay. Price of everything's going up. What's not gone up in a while? CRA Academy. So we got old school prices, like pre-COVID prices.
Yeah, we had talked about raising the price in January. I guess we haven't talked about that lately, so I guess we're not.
Let's not do it to this
I was
class.
gonna say it's out there. So
Maybe. Let's see what the Fed does tomorrow. And then let's see for the March, April class. So if you're on the fence about, well, like Emmy, if I want to do now or April, well, you hear them here. Chris is already thinking like, let's raise the price. You know, he's a
No,
business.
don't blame me.
I'm blaming
You,
Chris.
no. That was both of us. Come on now.
We've been debating it for a while and we haven't. And who knows when we will is the point. But a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Someone taught me that a while ago. That makes sense.
January 7th, class is starting up.
I like
Check
it.
out our website. Get started, guys. Let's go.
Thank you. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Thank you very much, Casey. Amazing, like rare footage of Casey.
Right?
And Chris, not so rare, but thank you also, Chris, for coming on.
Absolutely.
Like, subscribe, comment, share, thecraacademy.com. Bye-bye.
Everybody have a good week.